Ahead and hop over to our content filter here next. So the content filter is going to cover a different section. It's going to cover the content blocking and filtering and URL filtering here specifically. So our content filter here is an extension-based content filter. So it's deployed at the Google Chrome as a Google Chrome extension or a Microsoft Edge extension there. It'll follow the account around. So when someone signs into the browser, the extension is automatically deployed. It's going to start filtering based on any of the policies or things you've applied. Filters designed to be very lightweight, very flexible, so works really well in those environments. Works especially great with Chromebooks and devices like that. Of course, the core of any content filter is going to be the policy section. So just like any filter, we'll have an allow section. You can allow by sites, by categories. You can import from existing files or an existing global list. And then you can also set your policies in the Google side here. And that's going to be determined either by organizational unit or by Google groups here. So you can have different allow lists for your different OUs if you'd like. So in this case here, we can see we've got a couple different allow lists for the students here. We can also do category-based allow lists as well. And you can even allow through certain search terms based on keywords or based on regex patterns as well. More importantly, though, there is also a block list, of course. So you can certainly, same idea here, we can have different block lists for your overall organizational units or for the actual students themselves here. So we've got some different examples here. Now, this block also doesn't just extend to the individual websites. It certainly does a nice job too of looking at blocking embedded content as well. So for example, if you've got some game sites or things that the students keep hitting, or there's some kind of embedded game URL, works quite well with that as well too. And you've got options here. You can certainly add a site. You could block all your sites and just have an approved list. The allow list is going to override any of the blocks you've put in here. Again, some options to import from things. And then there's ways to configure notifications. You can have notifications go out right away. You can schedule notifications to go out at a specific time frame each day if you want. You can even have notifications on individual sites if necessary. And you can even choose to mute notifications if you say, hey, I know people are going to go to Facebook. I don't need to know that people are going to Facebook there. We will also have some pre-built categories ready to go as well too. So you'll see some different examples here. There's a lot of different categories you can go ahead and add in here. Once those categories are in place, you're able to go back in and preview those sites as well too. So you can see which sites are going to be blocked by the platform here. And then again, you can set those notifications up as well too from here, or do overall notifications on any of the category blocks. And then does also support blocks by search term as well too here. So you can go ahead and have those set up either by keywords or by regex patterns. One of our customers for content filter, Manuel Sanchez over at Azusa, Unified School District in California, used this quite extensively to help block a lot of the different search terms that students were getting into and things like that. So very handy for helping block some of those issues and problems he was running into on his Chromebooks there. Beyond the block list, we also do look at what we call risks. So risks work a lot like they do over on the Cloud Monitor side of things, but this is where we're looking at the input detection. And this input detection is very good. It doesn't just extend to what the students are searching and typing into the search bar or something like that. It's going to extend also to, say, an email or a Google Doc or other things like that, where students are pressing enter on the keyboard, they're putting in an actual input. The platform is going to look for those. So we've got some machine learning based models that are ready to go out of the box. This is something that Manuel over at Azusa found really handy, because this is something he wasn't aware of as some of the bad language and things. He was having some issues with students using Instagram, using Discord, things like that, common things you might expect students to try to get into, and they were using very inappropriate language. So let him know right away there were some issues there. The risks here don't block anything. They're designed to give you notifications, though, if there's some kind of problem or issue with those inputs. So this works really well, too. If maybe a student's on an educational resource, they're where they're supposed to be, but they're putting in inappropriate inputs, it'll still give you some insight into that. So you can, again, set those notifications on the individual type of risk here, or you can do overall notifications on those risks as well. There's ways, again, of course, to add people who are going to receive those notifications there. Next up, we do also look at the YouTube side of things here as well. So there's options to block or allow things based on keywords, based on channels here, based on specific video types. We can even do analyzing an individual YouTube video, and you can even set this up for individual settings where you're blocking the sidebar, the live chat, or the comments as well too. And that's not just going to extend to the individual videos itself. I'll go ahead and hop over to YouTube here for a moment. but this is going to extend to when someone is browsing through YouTube. So this is something that we have blocked internally here. So you notice as I hover over the videos here, even if it's the shorts here, it's going to start blocking those as soon as I hover over those. This also works with embedded content as well too. So if something's embedded in a web page, say you're going to a specific site where that video has been embedded, it's going to go ahead and block that for you as well too. So works quite well to go ahead and block those videos and things as needed there too. And then lastly here, we've got the block and allow list page, so you can certainly change that if you'd like. And then more importantly, we've got violations here. So this is going to pull through the data of all the different violations that have occurred. You can also just look at general browsing activity if you'd like to as well. But if we scroll down here, you'll see some of the different things that are happening here. So we can see we've got a specific user in question, date and timestamp, the URL. We could do an access lookup if we wanted to get some further information about that as needed. And then we can also see the direct input that the user put in, and we can see what this was getting flagged at as well too. And then in a real environment, this is a test environment here, we would also see an external and internal IP address as well too. And you'll also see some things will just be on the block list. You can also go through and just look at URL specific blocks here. You can look at specific inputs directly. You can look for specific searches if that's going on. And then we do have this newer feature here called AI. This is going to be looking for inputs into ChatGPT and some of those other large language models, those AI products that are all the rage these days. So keep an eye out for some of those kinds of things as well. Give you some insight into that if students are hitting those and maybe using that for assignments or things like that when they shouldn't be. And then the final section of the content filter here I'm going to hop over to is going to be our devices section. So this is going to be looking at the device level side of things here. So it's going to provide a device ID, some basic information here about what's going on, last known location, when was device last heard from. You've got options here to go into more details. You can also mark the device as lost or stolen. That will lock down the Chrome browser, or the Edge browser there for you. And then you can also go ahead and track the device. And this is going to go ahead and track the device by GPS. So it's going to be pretty precise with its coordinates there. It'll track for a 24-hour time period, but you can always re-enroll the device if for further tracking. But really handy in those situations where maybe somebody left their Chromebook somewhere and it's still in the building, but you're not exactly sure where it is, or there is a device that's been lost or stolen. So as soon as it's connected to the internet, it's going to go ahead and show you that location information there, give you some insight that way as well too. So that's a feature we have in here as well too, to provide some enhancements to that. You also know too, if more than one student's accessing a device, you'll see that listed here as well. So we can see maybe the student's actually sharing a device for some reason. Is that anticipated? Maybe we've got an older brother that's taken away their younger sibling's device there. So these kinds of features can also be helpful as you're using the content filter there and keeping an eye on things. And again, you'll see there's that tracking there as well too. So certainly more features in content filters as well too. Here we can dive into accounts or some other areas. But I think that's probably a good stopping point for today, so we can get